Over the last year, I have posted hundreds of videos online about healthy eating and living tips, and I've interacted with thousands of viewers specifically about the topic of healthy dieting. So on top of my experience as a medical doctor, I have come to learn very well what does and doesn't work when it comes to changing your diet. So picture this. You have your health goal in mind. Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe you want to improve your energy. Maybe you want to eliminate a symptom you're feeling, like gastrointestinal distress. Maybe you want to see your cholesterol move. Maybe you want to decrease your hemoglobin A1C. Or maybe you just want to decrease the amount of medications you're on for your blood pressure. It actually doesn't matter what your goal is. The point is, you have one in mind. So the next step is you talk to your doctor and you decide to go on a diet, but then the results just are not coming in. If this is happening to you, do not worry. You are not alone. This experience is way more common than you might think. So today, more specifically, I want to describe 5 simple steps that you can take to nearly guarantee that your healthy diet is going to work for you, no matter what your health goal is. And this will not only help you achieve your specific health goal, this will also help you improve your overall health and longevity. So let's just dive right into our list. Step number 1 is clear out the clutter. Get rid of anything that's not serving you in your pantry, in your fridge, in your freezer, in your kitchen cabinets, or anywhere else that you're storing food. You can think of this as doing a deep spring cleaning for your diet. And this in and of itself is not necessarily such a simple or easy task. Most people actually never do this, and it's one of the main reasons a lot of people feel stuck. So the important thing is when we are approaching changing our habits or changing our eating, it's very difficult to do that if we have our old habits or our old eating pattern staring at us in the face. So I think you know what I'm talking about. You come home, you open your kitchen cabinet, and you see all those crackers, all those biscuits, those cookies, maybe that candy, maybe those leftover holiday treats. They're staring at you in the face. When you're really hungry and you're tired and it's late, there's just no easier calorie to grab than those ones. And this is the biggest issue that people have when they're trying to approach healthier eating or changing their diet overall. If they have all of the old junk food hanging around their house, it's really hard to say no to that. And that's just human nature. It's not a flaw in your personality if you have a hard time staying away from the Oreos or the biscuits. It's just too tempting not to grab for those things when they're available to you. So what I like to think about in these kinds of situations is try to eliminate the temptation as much as possible by eliminating that from your face. If it's not available to you in your house and you make it more difficult to eat things like junk food, sweet, salty, oily snacks, you're probably less likely to actually eat those things. And the second step of clearing out your kitchen is then replacing all of the snacks that you did have with healthier options. So these are going to be things like produce, vegetables or fruits, nuts or seeds, or it could be nut butter or seed butter, like even peanut butter. Could be whole grain crackers, whole grain breads. It could include bean dips or whole bean salads. Anything that comes from a whole food form and it's minimally processed is going to be a better option for a snack when you're really hungry or you're tired. What is step number 2 if you're trying to approach a new healthy diet? Well, this is by starting with the things you can control and focusing your efforts there. And I like to think of this as really dialing in to controlling one meal at a time in your day. So here's what I mean. A lot of the times, if we are not working from home and we have to go to work, or we're going to school, or we are taking care of somebody and we need to leave our house at some point in the day, maybe not all of our meals are actually going to be eaten at home. And we know in general, it's a lot harder to control what we eat when it's not in our home environment where we have total decision power over the foods available to us. So if you're somebody who typically can eat breakfast at home, but then you run off to work or school, and you eat lunch there, and then maybe you have work dinners or you have team dinners and you're eating with other people, you might not be able to control the foods that you actually eat at your lunch at work or school, or your dinner with your group or your team. It is really hard to change our diet when we don't even control the foods that are available to us to eat for the meal. So instead, if you're somebody that's eating breakfast at home by yourself before you go off for your day, that is the easiest way to start controlling the foods that you eat and improve the quality of your diet. And here's what I mean. So let's say at home, you're used to just grabbing a muffin or a bagel from the freezer, throwing that in the toaster oven and then spreading some cream cheese on it. Those are some nice, tasty, quick calories so that you can get going in your day. But if this is your typical breakfast, you really didn't give yourself a good source of healthy fats, a good source of fiber, or any protein at all. And we know that if we're not eating healthy, balanced nutrition, we're not going to have long-lasting, sustainable energy. And then overall, we're going to make poorer and poorer choices throughout the rest of the day when it comes to our diet. So if you're somebody that typically eats breakfast, it is probably a good idea to start controlling the breakfast you eat and making it as healthy as possible. Getting a good source of protein in there, eating some fibrous foods, maybe they're whole form nuts or seeds, maybe they're fruits, maybe they're vegetables, maybe you scramble an egg. Whatever you need to do to get some quality nutrition in at the meal that you can control in your day, the better off you're going to be overall in the long term. And now let's flip this around. Let's say, for example, you don't even eat breakfast, or you eat breakfast on the go only some days if you're hungry, but the meal that you can always control for yourself is your dinner because you typically eat dinner at home. Maybe you live by yourself, or if you're with your family and you're the one cooking. So in this circumstance, it's so much easier to control the meal that you can cook in your house. And that might be dinner for you. I think you get the idea. Whatever you can control, dial in to making that meal as healthful as possible and balance out that nutrition. And you're going to be taking control of your overall diet faster than you even realize. And if you're liking this video so far, and I really hope that you are, please subscribe to this channel because our community thrives on having people like you keep it going. And we learn so much from each other. The comment section on this channel is really the best part of it, and you don't want to miss any of that awesome material. Okay, step 3, if you're trying to make a healthy diet work for you, well, this is to address your environment. And what I'm talking about is not necessarily the pollution outside or the amount of trash that's thrown in your street. I'm talking about the eating environment that you engage in. If you're somebody that's typically eating in the car, you're eating in front of a TV, you're not even eating at a real table, and you typically eat on a couch or on a lawn chair, these are all things that might play into the quality of the experience of eating that you're having and might also impact the quality of the foods you're choosing to eat. The other aspect of eating environment is sort of our mental state or our stress level when we're actually eating. Are we eating alone? Are we eating with other people? Are the other people that we might be eating with on board with us actually following a healthy diet? This is one of the hardest things for folks. People who decide they want to tackle their health head on and change their diet and eat healthier, but maybe they live in a household with other people who are not interested in changing their diet. And so all of a sudden, it feels like you have to get 2 different grocery lists going at the same time for your household. And this is probably really challenging for people who live with maybe parents or grandparents, or if you are a parent or a grandparent yourself, your own kids or your own grandkids. When we're at different life stages, we have totally different priorities for our health, and our metabolism is different. So not everybody is going to be thinking about weight loss when they're 14 if they're healthy and playing a bunch of sports, as somebody who maybe is now in their 70s and they're slowing down and they've noticed they've gained a little weight and they're trying to take their health to the next level by tackling their diet. If you live in a household with multiple different types of people at different life stages, this is easier said than done. So I just want to be really clear. This is challenging for a lot of people, but if you're able to address your environment, the environment with which you eat, the people with which you eat, that is also going to help catapult you into a healthier regimen long term. And something I'd like to point out is that eating regimens like the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle, for example, which is one of the healthiest approaches to eating known and has some of the most research, medical research, scientific research on it of any eating approach. A lot of the times it is emphasized to eat these slower social meals. And it's thought that that helps give a lot of the health benefit to following this approach to eating. So eating slowly, having multiple courses, engaging in conversation, taking sips of your drink and laughing and socializing while you eat is a big aspect of what makes the Mediterranean diet lifestyle so healthy. It's not just about the olive oil or the lemon or the fish. It is also really about the environment in which somebody's eating. So it's very important to keep that in mind. And I also like to just throw this out there. There's a lot of people who live alone and maybe they don't have anybody to eat with. I want to propose this to you. If you are somebody that doesn't have someone to eat with, don't be afraid to sort of dine romantically with yourself if that's all the options you have. The reason I say this is because what we're trying to do by eating slowly and socializing is to really stimulate what's called our parasympathetic nervous system. This is the side of our nervous system, or really our brain function, that allows our metabolism to be enhanced because of all of the hormonal and the neurotransmitter signals that are telling our body to rest and digest. That's the concept of it. So the slower we are and the more relaxed we are when we're eating, the more health benefit we're going to derive from the eating experience. And we're actually going to extract better nutrition. So even if you can't have a social conversation with somebody while you're eating your meal, there are ways that you could help stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system and slow down. And this could be things like lighting candles, dimming the lights, grabbing some flowers from the grocery store and putting them in a vase on your dinner table, putting on some background music that's light and calming like jazz or classical. All of these things can actually help our brain calm down and engage with our eating experience so much better than if we're just watching the game or watching TV and there's a bunch of noise and flashing lights going on and we feel stimulated without even realizing it. And this is also becoming more and more important as screen time is increasing for most people at every different age. So we know that screens are really abundant in our lives. Eating a meal can be one of the only times we actually choose to turn it off. All right, what's step number 4 if you're trying to tackle a healthy diet and a healthy eating regimen? This is to prioritize what I like to call the healthy trifecta. So if you've ever seen another video of mine, you're going to hear this phrase that I repeat all the time, the healthy trifecta. What is that? Well, it's not a concept that I made up, but I sort of put this phrase together to help us highlight and identify the 3 components, 1, 2, 3, of a healthy and balanced nutrition that you'd want to target for creating a healthful meal. So this is to include fiber, healthy fats, and protein. And all 3 of these nutrients are very essential for us maintaining the adequate nutrient needs of our body, but also to help slow down our digestion and decrease the sugar spike that goes into our blood after we eat a meal. And the goal is if we slow down our sugar spike, we're going to slow down the insulin spike that responds to that. And that's very, very important for our metabolic health. And it has a lot of implications for multiple disease states, not just diabetes, but now we know it's true for heart disease. We know it's true for brain disease. We know it's true for liver disease. We know it's true for kidney disease. You name the organ, insulin resistance is a problem for so many parts of the body. So that's the name of the game. Now, if you want a deeper dive on learning about the healthy trifecta, what specific foods you can target to actually implement that at a meal, I encourage you to watch several other videos of mine on this YouTube channel after this one. I have a ton more information just about that. What's our 5th step of what you should really be thinking about if you want to successfully implement healthy eating? Well, I cannot encourage this enough for everyone. Try cooking at home a little bit more if you're not already. Now, some of you might already be cooking at home, so you can just ignore this point because it's already something you're doing. But for those of you who are not doing this very often, or maybe you're only doing it some of the time, this is the easiest way to improve the quality of your diet. The only way you can control everything that's going into your body is by doing it yourself. Food prepping yourself, making your meal yourself. I promise you, even at healthy restaurants, there is way more salt added than you realize. There might be sugar in the sauces that you don't realize. There might be extra oils added in. You don't realize these things if you're not able to actually see the way it's cooked yourself. So if you are trying to control exactly what's going into your body, you have to be the one cooking. That's not necessarily meaning you have to be the one chopping all the vegetables and putting everything in a saute pan or baking it in the oven. There are tons of different meal kits out there. There are tons of different companies now that will sell you prepared meals that you just get the ingredients, or maybe you get the whole food forms and then you put the kit together and you put the recipe and you're done. And that can work too. So however you need to put the meal together, if you need a little bit of support or you feel confident just going and buying a bunch of veggies, maybe from a fruit stand, a veggie stand, or just your regular grocery store and putting a meal together, then you're going to be able to control your diet and your overall health so much better. And I know that cooking is not everybody's favorite activity, but I promise you, healthy cooking does not have to be complicated and it does not have to be fancy. I talk about that a lot on this YouTube channel. Eating healthfully is just about the quality of the ingredients, but the meals can be super simple. And that's one of the reasons I love the Mediterranean diet lifestyle so much, is because meals are really simple. We're talking about 5-ingredient soup. We're talking about just baking a little bit of fish in the oven. Maybe there's some herbs on it and then you squeeze lemon at the end. That's it. It does not need to be really fancy. You do not have to become a 5-star chef just for eating healthfully. Now, at this point, I have to ask you, are you ready to jumpstart your journey? Because if you are, you have to check out the rest of my videos on this channel where I really walk you through step by step with how to make some of these meals, how to think through meal planning and meal prep, how to do your grocery shopping, and how to just understand what sustainability in a healthy diet is all about. Very important factors to maintain as you go through your health journey. Jump into that content. I'll see you over there.